after the San Bernadino shooting last week, and actually after many shootings, various politicians talk about gun safety regulations and standing up to the NRA and stopping the insanity. And the response from the pro-gun right has been very, very loud. They've been saying, listen, these shootings happen in gun-free zones. Lack of guns is the problem. We need more guns. Or they've said, well, yeah, they had some firearms, but they also had pipe bombs, and pipe bombs aren't something you can buy anyway. So banning or restricting industrial firearms wouldn't prevent someone from getting a pipe bomb. Or they say, hey, California already has strict gun control laws. So the shooting happened anyway. The strict gun control laws didn't make a difference. We've got to break these arguments down because they're all bogus. Now, as far as lack of guns, we're hearing that more and more of these shootings are taking place when there is someone else with a gun, a potential good guy with a gun on site, and they realize firing their gun isn't going to solve the problem. This applies to the San Bernadino shooting. The guy's name, Lewis, is Glenn Wilworth. There was a guy with a gun right across the street, and he said, I considered going over there, but what am I going to do? Who am I going to shoot at? These situations are never clear. So that idea has been debunked time and time again because we've had good guys with guns at many of these incidents, and they've correctly identified they are just going to add to the insanity and possibly injure even more innocent people.
Yeah, there will be situations, and we've had a lot of mass shootings. I predict that there probably will be a situation where perhaps a good guy with a gun might be able to do some good.
Sure, anecdotally.
But in the vast majority of these cases, they're either going to do more harm than good or end up another victim. So, the good guy with the gun thing is just so etched into people's brains because of Hollywood, the movies, the TV shows. Of course, none of these people have ever been in this situation themselves.
Now, as far as California has strict gun laws and it did nothing to prevent a shooting, this argument is laughably bogus. There's no customs check as you enter California. California's gun laws don't really matter if someone comes from Arizona with guns and starts shooting. Chicago is an example with Indiana, right? We look at gun violence in the urban center of Chicago. It's very easy to buy guns in neighboring Indiana. To be clear, I'm not advocating for customs checks when you move from state to state, and that may not even be constitutional based on an 1869 Supreme Court decision called Paul versus Virginia. But don't forget that there is no way to restrict movement of guns between states. So it's essentially irrelevant that California has strict gun laws and the shooting still happened. That being said, though, we still see that the states with more relaxed gun laws have more gun crime, and that is holding true. But that's not a good argument at all that we're hearing from the pro-gun right, Lewis.
No, they're actually throwing bad numbers and bad statistics at you, because what they'll do is they'll tell you, look, they'll point to a very violent city in a state that has strict gun control laws, and they'll say, look at this, these gun laws are doing nothing, when in reality, overall, the numbers do tell us that gun control does help.
And there's an important overarching reality, which is you may not be able to stop a specific person who is absolutely determined to get a gun from getting a gun and committing a crime. Does that mean we should give up and stop trying? Does that mean that we can't reduce the number of incidents and the severity of incidents with sensible gun safety regulations, stricter background checks, etc.? Of course not. And we've talked about this when thinking about murder laws. Hey, someone who's really determined to kill another person, they're going to do it even if murder is illegal. Well, then let's just forget about those laws that say murder is against the law.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the thing to do is to make it harder for people to commit these acts and to try and stop them before they happen. And Dave, we didn't talk about this, but the neighbor of the San Bernadino shooters thought that there was shady things going on.
That's right.
But stepped back and said, you know what, maybe the media is getting to me. Maybe all of this is getting to me. I don't want to be labeled a xenophobe.
Yes, this is phobia of Islamophobia and the Islamophobia phobia. And this is something we've been getting voice messages about, and I want to address it. I think this is a really good thing to talk about, but not today, as we have many other things to discuss. Yet another month of strong jobs numbers from November means we are very, very likely going to see that federal funds interest rate increased sooner than later by the Federal Reserve. 211,000 new jobs created in November. In addition, the September and October numbers have been revised upwards to show 35,000 more new jobs than previously reported. The unemployment rate is steady at a 7.5-year low of 5%.